Alright, what's up guys, it's KOSDFF here, and today we're going to be traveling forward in time from my last video, about 5 or 6 years. I'm 21 years old, I'm in college, and I'm going to tell you about a night we had in school, which was just a total clusterfuck. Everything that could go wrong, went wrong, and by I mean total clusterfuck, actually it really wasn't that bad for me. I managed to escape by unscathed, but everybody else that I knew just seemed to just get in a world of fucking trouble. The consequences of which affected a couple of my friends drastically, and one of my friends financially. Now, as you're going to see from this story, I've always been kind of the semi-responsible one of my group of friends, not so much in high school. In high school, I was a fucking tyrant, it was crazy, I did anything I wanted, and it was just crazy, and I was a dumbass. But in college, I definitely assumed more of a responsible person kind of role in my group of friends. Not to say I didn't get in a whole lot of shit, because I did, but in this story especially, I tended to be kind of like the person when these guys got in fucking trouble, they would come to figure out how the fuck to get out of it. And this night started innocent. It was just me and my homies and some friends hanging out at my friend Dave's apartment. And Dave's apartment, at this time, it was Dave and Weston's apartment, but it was kind of like the place we always went to hang out because they had the top apartment in their little complex, so they had the high ceilings. It was a 2-bedroom apartment, so it was a little bigger than our little 1-bedroom dorms that we had. So we used to like congregate over there and do all our drinking and partying. And of course, this night was no different, but this apartment complex was actually really close to school. And me and my friend Bud had actually moved in together after meeting in the dorms and moved into the same apartment complex. So we were like really close to Dave and Weston. So of course, everybody's there. A whole bunch of people you've already heard of. So Chris, the guy that sued me, he was there. Some little bastard named Andrew was there. My friend Jonathan was there, the one I went to jail with. I went to the same college as him, although he was a couple years ahead of us, so we didn't really have any classes together. We would still party together a lot. And of course, the girls were there, like Susie and the rest of them. But anyways, so the night pretty much just went as planned. We actually had a really cool grocery store across the street that would sell like 24 cases of beer for $10. It was some cheap ass, I think it was like, I don't even remember. It was one of those cheap ass light beers that we would just play beer pong with all night. And that's exactly what we did. It was a tremendous night of beer pong, and your boy did really well with his homie Chris. I think we went on like a 13-game win streak. Safe to say everybody that was there got totally shit-faced. And before you go a judging, I am in college. I'm in my junior year and I've just turned 21. We've all just kind of hit that 21 area. Beer is pretty much life at this point. But of course, we're all trash, so around 1 or 2 o'clock is when I decided to stumble on home. And luckily, because I lived in the same apartment complex, this was like a matter of like 50 yards. But the rest of my friends decided they weren't done with the night, despite the cops already coming by once to complain about the noise, which of course in college we would just turn everything off and hide and wait for the fuckers to quit knocking and finally fuck off. Which they always did because, you know, they're college area cops, they get it. But that and just the high level of drunkenness that I was feeling because we had been playing beer pong all night, I decided to kick it home early. Which I often did because out of my group of friends, I was really the only one that paid a whole lot of attention to my school besides the girls. The girls took care of their shit, but the rest of the guys, they were just kind of doing whatever. I don't remember the exact reason why I went home early, I'm just guessing it was because I was wasted. But the rest of my friends decided to go back onto the college campus, which this apartment complex was just right near the border of, so it wasn't a very long walk. And what they were going to do was to go steal golf carts. Now my school was rather large. This was a massive school. I think there was like, I don't know, 50,000 students, maybe 60,000 students, about 30,000 of them were commuters. So this school was huge. I mean, massive parking lots, all the buildings were really far away from each other. I used to walk everywhere in school, and like to walk from my apartment to class, even though we were right there on campus, would take like 20 minutes for the most part. It was just a really big campus, and all the people that worked at the school would get around on these little golf carts. Now, my friend Dave used to work at a country club before he went to school, so he had all these keys that were just like master keys that would turn on any golf cart that he got into. And he had like a couple of them, so it wasn't just like he could spot one model and it was like, oh, that's the one I can use. Any golf cart you saw, he could get started. And this isn't something that they hadn't done before. I've actually gone with him a couple times. It's basically we just went on to campus, took the golf carts and just drove them around the school and paid like bumper cars with them. We'd ride them off like 2-stair ledges and things like that. We would just pretty much fuck them up. But never once did we ever come across the golf cart they found that night. That night, they found a golf cart, one of those little truck beds on the back of it, just filled with spray paint. Apparently, this was like the maintenance golf cart, and they had all this paint and spray paint and tools for painting that they would just go around campus, I guess, touching stuff up. But as you can imagine, 4 drunk college kids finding a golf cart full of spray paint wouldn't lead to anything but fuckery. Now, I will hand it to them. We all did have like an abiding respect for the school, although it wasn't one of those schools that had a whole lot of school spirit. We went and watched our basketball team a few times. Now they have a football team, but back then it wasn't like something that we were just all about school spirit and we just loved our school, but we did have a respect for our educational institution, so they actually didn't spray paint the school. Instead, they drove the golf cart all the way back to the apartment complexes. I'm guessing they found it, they drove it around for a little while and decided, you know what, we're not gonna walk home, might as well drive the golf cart. So they of course all got into the golf cart and drove it all the way back. Now if you've ever been with your group of friends when it's time to disperse after a long night of fuckery, no one really wants to go home. Most of the time you end up hanging out and talking for a little bit longer until someone just absolutely has to leave and then you all break apart. So picture this scenario, you've got 4 drunk college kids sitting in the parking lot of our apartment complex with a golf cart full of spray paint. Let the painting begin. These guys broke into those spray paint cans like they were graffiti artists from all around the world, and they painted the fuck out of our apartment complex. And not just the apartment complex, the fucking parking lot, the dumpsters, the actual golf cart, and they were actually kind of artistic with it. You walked outside and everything looked like fucking Candyland. I mean, they painted stripes all over the place, and of course there was a lot of cocks and MS-13s. I mean, they just went to town on this apartment complex, and only their part of the complex, so it wasn't like these guys were really trying to get away with anything. They were just fucking wasted, painted everything, left the golf cart there, left the spray paint cans there. It was just a world of evidence. There was no fucking guessing who did this, especially since everybody else in that little sub building of the apartment complex, they're all other like really well-behaved students and other people that didn't even go to school there. But mind you, I'm asleep for all this. Now they did come knock on my door a few times and I did wake up and go answer it to see them all covered in spray paint being drunk dumbasses. Come on out, come on man, we found all this spray paint and says, and I'm just like, yo, fuck off. Like, you seriously, you've been banging on my door, you've been throwing shit at my window trying to wake me up. Like, fuck off. I just wasn't having it. I really just think I wasn't even in a bad mood because we had a really good night. I think I was just wasted and had something to do the next morning. And come to think of it, I probably had to go meet my parents because I did go to UNC Charlotte, which is right near my parents' hometown. We used to go have dim sum or this like Chinese brunch type stuff like every weekend because little Chinatown was like 10 minutes away from the college campus and we would go there and eat a whole bunch of food. I think actually that's probably the reason. So I told him to fuck off. Now I didn't find out about all this stuff that they had done until the next morning, but I'll get to that. Now you would think I'd have been able to just to go to sleep, wake up the next morning, hear all this great story, see all the world of shit my friends were no doubt gonna get into. And they did. They got in a fucking world of trouble for all this, but I'll get to that. But right as I'm like about to fall asleep, that little period that you can never remember, like when you wake up in the morning, because no one really can ever remember actually falling asleep. It was right about then I get another knock at the door. Now I'm fucking furious. I'm about to open this door and bitch out one of my homies like he's never been bitched out before. Enough is enough. This is like the 3rd time they've been trying to fucking wake me up. So I'm like stomping towards the door, like screaming, hollering, like, what the fuck, motherfuckers? Y'all all need to fuck off. And I open the door and I see my friend Jonathan there. Now Jonathan had skipped out on the golf cart spray painting and had actually left earlier to go to another party with some girl he was talking to. And this is the same Jonathan that pulled all those donuts in my neighborhood and actually got us sent to jail pretty much. And no, he has not grown up very much in this 5-year period. God bless his heart, goofy fucking bastard. Apparently he had acquired himself a rental car because he had already wrecked his car, which was being worked on in the shop. They had given him this rental car that apparently had a pretty nice engine in it. And well, Jonathan, he wanted to test this bad boy. His other car is kind of this small little Focus, and they gave him this big like V8 freaking 4-door car. And I guess on his way back to my house or to meet up with my friends, he decided to pull an e-brake at the little light right before here and skid completely out of control, ran over a brand new fire hydrant. Believe it or not, they had like closed down our road to install this fire hydrant for like the week before that. It was fucking annoying. And this asshole went and just killed it like the first night it was there. But he fucked up this rental car so bad that he was afraid to move it. I mean, this tire was a total 90 degrees turned in. The rubber was literally facing the back of the car. But him having no fucking clue what to do, he decided to come ask me. So, of course, he woke me up and I'm just like listening to the story half awake, like, you did what now, motherfucker? And he told me, yeah, come with me, you know, we'll just walk up there. You know, I hit a fire hydrant. I'm like, all right, he hit a fire hydrant, big fucking deal. I was like, is there water going everywhere? And he's like, no, I didn't break the, like, I guess the valve or whatever. So I get my shoes on and we start walking up the street and I see this car just literally parked on a fucking fire hydrant. And I'm just like, really, I'm looking at my friend this whole time and he's laughing, you know, giggling, but at the same time just really worried about getting the car moved, because obviously if a cop sees this, he's gonna get another DUI, destruction of property. This is a really bad deal if we get caught. So his whole thing is we have to get the car, and he wanted me to kind of watch it from outside while he moved it into our apartment complex so he obviously could have it towed later and fixed. But of course I'm still kind of wasted. He's obviously a little wasted, so we're sitting there like making jokes, looking at his car. I pulled out my shitty little flip phone, it was that long ago, and I'm sitting there filming video and really just recording the sound this car is making as it's driving down the road at like half a mile an hour. The speed of smell, this thing sounds like you threw fucking forks into a meat grinder. It was terrible. And this whole time I'm just sitting there watching like, yo, how bad can I roast before he gets like super emotional, because it's fucking bad. Like it's really bad. But of course, after like 10 minutes of driving this car, literally at the speed of smell, we finally get into my apartment complex, and it's just totally fucked. And the fact that it's a rent-a-car from his car already being fucked from him doing something similar, I don't even know if it's something similar. He might have just ran off the road, or he hit something like that jumped out in front of him. I actually don't know why his car was in there, but we'll just assume because he was driving like an asshat. Because he's done this a lot. And not to say he always got caught. I've been in his car before when we would go do this stuff in like empty parking lots, and when we were like totally sober and both of us were just having fun. And you know, he was just into that kind of stuff. He was a car kind of guy. So 2 years later, when he bought a motorcycle, I was like, bad idea. But anyways, and he actually lived on campus. So by the time we got his car back at our apartment complex, he just walked home. I went to sleep, and that was the end of that night. And by end of that night, I mean it's like 5 a.m. So I wake up the next morning, and it's just like I said earlier. I open the door and boom, fucking Candyland. Everything but the cars has been spray painted. And not spray painted like you would think, like graffiti and just random shit drawn. I'm talking fucking rainbows of Easter colors everywhere. It's almost impressive how much they painted. And they painted the parking lot too. They were like drawing MS-13 around everything. This is right around when MS-13 was like plaguing Discovery Channel, and all those specials about them were everywhere. They put up all these gang signs. They wrote Crip stuff. They did everything. Just having a good old time painting just random dicks and Easter rainbows everywhere. Well, of course, the apartment complex found out about this like right away. And of course, it was immediately obvious who fucking did it. They didn't even get rid of the golf cart. The golf cart was just sitting right there, and all those spray paint cans are just everywhere, and empty beer bottles. It's just a total shit show. And they actually ended up getting kicked out of that apartment complex. So they had to move. It was actually pretty dramatic for them, because they actually had to move like right away. They got kicked out like right then and there. They had to find a new spot and get their shit out of there. They weren't fucking having it. And of course, because they did it with school property, and our apartment complex was like really, like literally touching the border of the college, they got in a whole bunch of trouble with the school as well, and got placed on like academic probation or something probation, which really means shit. You just can't get in trouble anymore. And for these guys, could actually end up being pretty bad. But this actually forced us all to eventually move pretty far away from campus. They instantly got off campus and moved elsewhere. Because we wanted to live near them, when our lease was up, we just said fuck it, and ended up moving into a big house with everybody so we could all be close together and all could go be dumbasses. But I just remember this night as just being impressive, that every single friend I had just got in trouble like by themselves, individually, in their own fucking little ways, and absolutely every single one of them decided to come wake me up and tell me about it that night. And it really just makes me think about my relationship with my friends, because I have that kind of relationship with my friends now. Something goes wrong and they come run to tell Papa Cost and figure out what the fuck to do. I still can't believe Chaos made a paper towel fucking dam to stop a running toilet. How that could ever have solved the problem, I don't ever fucking know. Why my friend Jonathan thought it'd be a great idea to pull an e-brake in a fucking 4-door Accord and totally wipe out an innocent fire hydrant they ended up working on for another 2 fucking weeks, and ended up closing our road outside of our apartment again, and they never totally fixed it. It always was bent from then on, so literally every day we drive by it and see this like bent ass fire hydrant and just look at Jonathan and be like, remember that dumbass? Jonathan really didn't get in any trouble that night. It just hurt him financially. Wrecking a rent-a-car is not something that's cheap. And he fucking wrecked it, and he bent axles. This tire was like, I don't know how it stayed on. I'm sure glad it did, because moving a car with 3 wheels would have been a lot harder. And the rest of my friends ended up getting in trouble for spray painting, something that I had been getting away with in like big cities for the longest time. And even when security or the cops would see us, we'd run away and get it because it's a damn big ass city. These fuckers spray painted a whole bunch of shit, just left the evidence there, just like basically leaving breadcrumbs to themselves with paint cans. It just totally amazes me that although I considered all these people, you know, semi-intelligent, that they had managed to get themselves in such shit that could have been so easily avoided. Now, I'm guessing most of you that are watching this are either in college or about to be in college. You do have this kind of stuff to look forward to, but please be the responsible person to your friends, because every group needs one and no one wants to be that person. But just so that innocent fire hydrants and MS-13 tags don't get sprayed everywhere, try to, look after them a bit. Try to be that dude. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. See you guys tomorrow.